Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kayla Rose and this is my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I attempted to take this pretty ill-fitting, kind of see-through dress that I thrifted and turned it into one of these. Trendy corset top that you see floating around nowadays. Now I already attempted to do this video once and it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. So I'm gonna go ahead and try again because I can't return this dress, it was on clearance. I'm gonna lay out the supplies that I'm going to be using today. Pattern pieces, fabric scissors, actual material, zip ties, sanding sponge for the zip ties, and my dignity because if I fail at this again, that's just gonna be sad. So first thing I'm gonna do is cut the dress at the waistline just so it's easier to work with. Hi, baby. The reason I wanted to do this is because there is a underlining and it's just gonna be easier if I separate them. I think I might be able to get this to work if I do a strapless top. Since this is going to be the center of the actual bodice itself, I'm wanting the center to be pretty matched up with the flowers. Pin it right about here. My only thing now is there's two pretty big slits from where the zipper was taking up room. So I'm gonna lay the other pieces over the top of where there's ideally no seam, but I also have to be mindful of the pattern, make sure it's all going the right way. In my last video, I mentioned that I was having a hard time with the princess theme. I kind of figured out the strategy. Line up your lines so that they're even. Take your scissors and cut a slit in one part. Doesn't have to be huge. And then in another part. And cut in the same spot, only on the other piece. So that way it's just easier to find where they line up when you go to flip it right side to right side. And then where it curves, make a bunch of little tiny slits along the curve so it's easier to morph to where you need it to go. The only bad thing about feeling like you actually accomplished something on this side is that you have to do the same thing to your lining. So we have the front section pinned for the shell and the lining. I'm gonna go ahead and sew. I'm also gonna go ahead and pin and sew the flaps that go right here. So that's what I'm gonna be doing right now. We officially have the shell all sewn up. It looks kind of janky, so please ignore it. And then there's the lining. I'm actually super proud of it because look at it, I actually did it. If the rest of this ends up being garbage, I can at least be proud of myself for conquering the princess seam. The next move is to put the shell fabric over the top of the lining and then sew the top all the way across. I want to leave this side open because I want to put little loops for tying a string through because this is too short to fit around my entire body, so I could put a zipper. So I have the entire top sewed together and I'm gonna flip it. Wow, this is so much easier than having to do full sleeves. Ta-da! Oh boy, love that. Maybe once I get the things in there, it won't do that. I'm gonna go ahead and top stitch it. Wish me luck. Here's what we're sitting with so far. Okay, so I'm silly and I didn't realize that I left the background music I was listening to running and I don't want to get demonetized. So enjoy voice over me talking about what I'm doing. So right now I'm just planning out the channels that I want to put into the top and telling you that you should leave about a finger's worth at the bottom. When you go to hem, it's a little bit easier and you're not running over zip ties. Then I just put a pin in the center where I'd want to put a top stitch. And then I was going to initially put two on either side of that as well to make two channels, but since the shirt was so lopsided, I only really needed one. And then I put two channels on either side leading up to the little arm swoops, so that way they would stay up while I was wearing the top. All the channels are now put in. As you can tell, it is a little bit lopsided. How it's turning out compared to the other one? No, it's a whole lot better. I didn't realize though, you can totally see it in the front. Maybe it's a vibe, maybe it's a style. I'm gonna put all of these in. So boop, 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 and boop. I'm going to pull the zip ties out about a finger length and then cut it. Ow. Once you do that, take the zip tie out. Take your sanding block and start to sand down all the rough edges. All of them are in place, but I noticed pretty soon into the process of making this shirt in general that I cut it kind of lopsided at the bottom. I'm gonna try and straighten that out. I didn't sew these pieces together before I flipped it all inside out and sewed it all together. So flip it like as best as I could inside out and then sewed it. Come out with this. I did the process totally backwards. Now I'm going to cut the seam that I just sewed, only in certain spots though, because I do want to put little loops. Okay, that was actually really hard, so I had to do it off camera. Take the excess fabric from the skirt that I cut up and make it into little loops. Here's the excess skirt material that I have. Cut super close to the hem, but not actually cut the hem. Fold them over themselves like that. Stuff it into the little pocket that you made. Once you manage to stuff it in there, top stitch. I'm gonna do the same to the other side. For the hemming, I'm actually gonna steal the hemming from the skirt and I'm gonna do the ribbon method because I really like it. Shout out with Wendy. I want this neat hemming part to be on the front of the shirt. I'm gonna sew this messy part to the back. Once you've sewn it in the back, you're gonna turn it over. It's gonna be a nice, neat little hem. Here I'm making the back strap that will actually keep the top cinched together, and I decided I wanted to keep the original straps from the top of the dress, including the little metal pieces for extra decoration. Alright, after working all day, I finally got it done. Here it is. I honestly really like this fit a lot better than the first one that I tried doing. Not a huge fan of strapless tops though in general because I hate how you have to keep pulling them up. Also, it's very crooked. Since you can see the zip tie, you can tell that it doesn't run completely down the center and that they're too close in certain spots, but the back ties together like this. I made it strapless only because I really had to. I didn't have enough fabric to do a full strap. I kind of winged this part right here and I actually liked how it turned out. I am glad I decided to put the zip tie up into this little part right here. It keeps it up and gives it more structure. I used the strap from the original dress, cut those off. Since that wasn't long enough and I needed something longer, luckily it had those little ribbons that are usually in the sides of clothing that are strapless. I cut those out and then sewed them onto the ends. Overall, I do like it a lot better than my first attempt. It just turned out so much cleaner and nicer, especially on the inside. I just do wish that it was a little bit more symmetrical. I actually really like it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you would like me to continue doing sewing stuff or thrift flipping, please let me know down in the comments and what you'd want to see me make, at least attempt to make. Please be sure to subscribe down below if you want to and turn on notifications. Please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. It would really help me out a lot and I would really appreciate it. Thank you all so much for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!